how many gadgets you purchase or places that you hide your valuables, there is one thing that you can always have to deter thieves and con artists, and that is your confidence. Confidence is a traveler's armor. The more confident you appear, the less likely you will become a target. And today I'm sharing 9 ways you can become a more confident traveler. Let's go. Tip number 1. Fake it till you make it. As you will see with many of these tips, what you need to reflect on the outside is not necessarily going to be how you feel on the inside. You need to embrace your inner actor and play the part of a confident traveler, even if you are feeling insecure or vulnerable in the moment. It's important that you don't show that through your body language by hunching your shoulders or keeping your eyes down. This leads to tip number 2, which is to smile. Now, this one usually comes pretty easy to me, but when you start to get stressed about where you are or how you're going to get to where you need to be, or just generally looking worried, you could become a target. A relaxed smile projects confidence. So use that even when you might be lost. Last year, when I was traveling around Japan with my daughter, who had been living there for a year and has a really good sense of Japanese, I went out on my own one evening in Kyoto because Alex, my daughter, had gotten too sunburned during the day. And she gave me very detailed directions on what to do once I was down in the subway station. But my menopause brain hit and I had so much trouble trying to figure out which train I needed to get on to head out to the famous Fushimi Inari Torii gates. And I know I was looking confused as I was walking around looking at the different maps. But even though I'm sure that confusion was on my face, I still was smiling. And that projected outwardly that I felt safe. And that's when a very nice gentleman asked if I needed help. And I kept the smile on my face. And then I followed tip number 3, which is to make eye contact. When you are speaking to someone, making eye contact shows that you are a strong person. Now, obviously, you don't want to overdo this and like stare the person down. just make normal eye contact. Avoid looking down or away from the person because that could show some insecurity. And it's funny because this is something I really have to practice at. I don't know if it's my Southern upbringing or what, but I will find myself looking down or away from people when I'm passing them on the walkway here, or even when I'm walking down streets in cities. And I've started practicing on my daily walks to keep eye contact, at least briefly, and smile and sometimes wave to people instead of looking away or looking down. Have you ever noticed how when cats are staring at each other, it always seems to be the weaker one who looks away first? Practice being an alpha cat when you are out there traveling to show your confidence. Now, tip number 4 is to walk with your head up and to turn your spidey sense on. When you are walking through a city, stand tall, lift up your torso as if you are stretching your spine, pull your shoulders slightly back so they widen. This is really the posture we should be walking with always. But as an added bonus, using this type of posture will make you look slimmer too. And this is something else I try to practice on my daily walks, is to keep my shoulders back and keep my torso forward and not be walking around where I'm kind of leaning, hunched over subconsciously. I think when I lean forward, it's going to make me move faster, but I do try to pull my shoulders back and straighten up and engage my core when I'm walking on my daily walks. And that is the posture you want to be walking with when you are out traveling. You want to walk making sure you're looking side to side, or at least peripherally, as well as in front of you, so you appear like you are very aware of your surroundings. When you're sitting in a cafe or another public space, scan your environment every once in a while. When you appear that you are well aware of what is going on around you, you become less of a target for pickpockets and other types of thieves. Tip number 5, be decisive. A hesitant person looks vulnerable. If at all possible, be as decisive in your actions as possible. You may have to memorize some of your routes and directions, or better yet, have them saved on your phone for quick access. But the more you can look like you know exactly where you are going, even if sometimes you don't, the less you might become a mark for a thief. I like to use the transit time I'm on a bus or a train to figure out exactly where I need to head when I get off of that mode of transportation, looking like somebody who has done this same route 100 times before. Tip number 6, look alert. You are safest when you have all of your senses working for you. You know this, and so do the people who might be watching you. Don't wear earbuds or headphones so you can't hear what is going on, or wear them to dissuade people from talking to you, but don't actually have anything playing in the headphones so you can really hear what is going on around you. Also, don't stand in the middle of a sidewalk or a deserted street looking at your phone or your map. Like I said before, I like to try to have that information before I get off the bus or the train. But if I need to look again, I try to find a relatively populated spot and then stand in front of a wall so no one can sneak up behind me. Tip number 7, make a statement as a statement. I know many of us women have sort of subconsciously been trained to have our voices raised at the end of a statement, making it sound more like a question or that we're unsure of what we've just said. This suggests that you are uncertain of yourself and that you are looking for confirmation from the person you're speaking with. This is just the type of thing a con artist might take total advantage of. So be strong when making your statements, especially when you are saying no. And if you do have a question to ask, of course, ask it. But when you have something specific to say it with confidence. Tip number 8, stand strong. Several years ago, there was a very, very popular TED Talk by Amy Cuddy about the power of the power pose. She argues that power posing, which is standing in the posture of confidence, even when we don't feel confident, can boost your feelings of confidence and might have an impact on our chances for success. It is an amazing talk, and if you haven't seen it before, I will have it linked in the description below. Using a version of that power pose when you are speaking to someone during your travels displays strong confidence. You'll want to stand with your feet apart about 12 inches or so hip width usually, and your weight evenly distributed. No hip pops here. Make sure to face the person that you're speaking with directly, and like I said before, make eye contact. I mean, you don't have to stare them down, but normal eye contact. Tip number 9, take up space. And this is just another way of saying don't make yourself small. If you're sitting in a chair, lean back. Use the armrest if they're there. Resist the urge to fold your arms under your armpits or fidget with your hands, which is something I do a lot. Feel free to use your hands to emphasize a point, which should be super easy for those of you like me that love to talk with your hands, as you see in my videos. Don't slouch or hunch over. Again, keep your shoulders down and your head up. And the more you practice the strong, confident posture, the more confident you're actually going to start to feel. Lastly, let's talk a little bit here about mindset. And I do want to make it clear that I am not someone who goes around being worried about safety most of the time. I generally have a very, very laid back view of the world and basically live from the perspective that If you're constantly living in fear of bad things happening to you, then you're going to bring that drama into your life. Well, if you live from the perspective that the overwhelming majority of people in this world are just normal, good people, and that bad things aren't going to happen to you, then you are usually exempt from the drama, or you end up finding the silver lining in negative situations. Well, I think incorporating all of the previous tips for confidence are important. The most vital is working on having a positive, loving, and secure mindset. Don't let fear erode your enjoyment of life, especially when it comes to traveling to new and magical places. Now that you know how to be confident when you are traveling, this video here will give you some more tips to a successful solo vacation. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you continue to have wonderful and safe travels.